Greetings everyone. Today's project I'm going to be making some of the tools that go with my Colonial American woodworking shop, Carpenter shop. Today I'm going to be making this little hammer that I made. I'm going to be showing how I made that, and before I made this one, let's see if I can put it in a spot where it's easier to see. I made another one ahead of time just to see how well it was going to work, and this one doesn't have the claw on it. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's just a regular peening hammer, which I'll show in a different angle here. Get that up nice and close so you can see. See, it's just a regular hammer, and I used a 16 penny nail for it. That's the peening hammer. As you can see, there's no claw. The one I made already, or in this video, actually has a little claw on it there. So this is the one I'm actually going to be making in the video. So there's a couple of oopsies that I did, but you'll see I kind of goofed. Anyway, I'm going to show you how I make those. That's the first of the tools that I'm going to be making. The next one I'm going to be making is some hand saws and a two-man saw, and I have a bunch of other, videos or tools lined up for this project, of course. So anyway, sit back, relax, enjoy, and let me know what you think at the end. Have a better day, as I always say. Greetings again, and this is a little box I've got of some of the nails and things that I'm going to be using for this project, and this is a 16 penny nail, or sometimes referred to as a 16D, you may have seen, and I've cut the head off of it already, and what I'm doing is I'm going to attach it to this vise, and I'm going to use a series of different files to shape the head of the hammer that I'm making. And I'm going to be using the two cameras that are there, just so you can see from different angles. And I need to get a new camera, evidently, because the camera that's in the main, that you're seeing in the main window there, it keeps going out of focus, and I don't know how to keep it from not getting out of focus. And of course I use my cell phone for it, so that's probably a good portion of the reason, but I've never had as much problem as I have had with this in the past. So I apologize. At one point, the small window that's up there and from the front view is going to take over, and it'll remain in that window for the duration. So just to give you a heads up. Anyway, all I'm doing is, like I said, I'm taking these series of small files, and I'm just going to shape the head of the hammer that I'm making. The claw hammer is what I'm making right now. So it's just a matter of taking time, a lot of sore wrist afterward, and basically filing it down to make it look like a hammerhead. As I mentioned before, there are a couple of mistakes that I made, and I do slow down. One of them is kind of dramatic, so I decided to make it a slow-mo so you can enjoy it a little bit better. But anyway, here I'm just making the flat part of it where the handle will attach to, as well as the claw part of it. And this was actually relatively simple. If I had played this entire thing without speeding it up, it would have took me about 45 minutes to make this one little hammer. As a result of doing this, I think I could do it a lot faster, but anyway, as you can see, it keeps going out of focus, and it just got to the point where I didn't want to do it anymore. And so anyway, here I am drawing the claw part of the hammer on just as a reference for me, so I know about how long I need to make it. And I do have a small hammer that's sitting next to me that I kind of reference it as well as I'm doing this. It's kind of crude, but like I say, it's just a guideline for me to kind of go off of as I'm filing. and it doesn't turn out perfect, but then again, nothing in the miniature world ever does turn out perfect. Well, unless you're really, really good at it. But anyway, that's the hammer that I'm using to kind of base it on. So that's what I'm trying to recreate, and that's what I was pointing to. There's the claw. So anyway, like I say, I'm just taking files and filing it down. And now I've kind of got the rough shape of it. Now what I'm doing is I'm marking a hole where I'm going to drill for the handle to go through. I'll be honest, the peening hammer that doesn't have the claw on it was so much easier to do than this. Obviously, there's a lot less work involved. So, here I am drilling, and what I did was I started with a 1/32 inch drill bit, and then I moved up to a 1/16 inch drill bit here that the handle will go through. The handle that I'm making is a 1/8 inch square dowel, and you'll see later on I sand it down to make the handle round and then to taper the point down. Here I'm taking a small hacksaw to cut the head off of the nail so I can just work with the rest of it. And that was the point during editing. I decided I don't want to watch that, and I'm sure you guys didn't enjoy watching that either. So from here on out, this is what you'll be seeing, this angle here. Anyway, here I am just trying to, like I said, file and shape, and when it comes time for it, I will take the hacksaw again and cut down the side of it here so that I can make the claw part of it. We'll make a little groove. It was rather difficult, actually. But, I should have went down a little bit further, but it was starting to go crooked, so I didn't want it to break off and have to start all over. So that's where I left it. It does kind of look a little wonky, but anyway. Here I am. I'm just trying to... Here's where my first mistake happens. I was hitting the hammer so hard that my camera, which was on this little pedestal, fell off. Anyway, got it back upright. And here I am just trying to bend the claw into its shape, you know, that curved shape. And I decided to put the camera actually down on the table instead of on the little stand I had it on. So, anyway, here I am just trying to separate the claw out a little bit. And it didn't turn out too bad. And here's a little stick. I cut it about 2 inches long because I was going to, what I'm doing is I'm going to chuck it into a power drill here and run it around some sandpaper. Well, here comes my next mistake. I was pushing too hard, and oh, it decided to break. I end up taking the extra piece and that I cut off, because the other one went down into the trash and I couldn't find it, and I didn't want to use it after being in the trash. So here I am again, but this time I'm not going to push as hard, and just taking different kinds of sandpaper, and as you can see, the emery board there, just to shape it into a hammer-like shape. And this is a little bit coarser sandpaper here, actually a finer, I mean, sandpaper, just enough so that I can get it to fit into the hammerhead. And I just kind of tap it in to make sure that it fits, and it did. And so there it is. Now I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to put some super glue onto it so that it stays in place. And as I'm tapping the end of it to peen that little thing, I hit it a little bit too crooked and it broke off. Well, it didn't completely break off, but it may as well have. But luckily it didn't, because I was able to super glue it all back together, and it held pretty well after super gluing. So I decided to leave it that way. Didn't want to play with it too much. Anyway, that is the hammer. And here I am, just like I said, super gluing it all back on. And I'm using some files and whatnot in the carving knife there to trim it all back so it looks pretty decent. And didn't work too. It worked pretty well. Wasn't too bad. Anyway, there's the claw hammer. And I get the other the peening hammer. Anyway, that's how I made my two hammers. I've got a few other hammers that I've got to make too. A rubber mallet type of hammer, or a rawhide hammer, and maybe a little bit of a sledgehammer or something like that. So that'll be fun and interesting to try. So you'll be seeing more of these tools. I started the saw, but I ran into some issues with the saws, so I will be doing that one this coming weekend, and be a series of these. I've already started planning the actual shop that it's going to be in too, so this will be a fun little project. I'm hoping to have it done by Independence Day. So anyway, we'll see. Don't hold your breath. Anyway, that's all for this one. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. And of course, have a better day, as I always say.